For more than 2,000 years, her tomb has remained hidden from human eyes, making it one of the most desired and unsolved secrets in world science. Now, after decades of searching, we're finally approaching an answer, but the feeling of mystery only grows stronger. Here's what will blow your mind. What they found inside the preliminary chambers didn't just impress researchers, it triggered serious alarm that reached the level of international concern. Unusual materials, ancient toxic compounds and abnormal biological traces suggest we're facing something far more than just an ordinary ancient burial site. This might be some kind of special time capsule, storing something that, according to the intentions of its creators, should never have surfaced. Picture this. Over 2,000 years ago, the question of where Cleopatra VII and her beloved Roman general Mark Antony were laid to rest became one of history's most complex puzzles. These prominent figures, whose tragic connection and death influenced the fate of entire empires, died in the year 30 before Christ. Their deaths became the symbolic end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and represented Egypt's loss of independence. Ancient historians like Plutarch and Suetonius, who wrote decades later, described in detail the circumstances of the famous couple's death. Antony, defeated and desperate, fell on his own sword, while Cleopatra, according to legend, accepted death from the bite of a royal cobra, the royal serpent symbol of pharaonic power. Ancient sources claimed they were buried together in a tomb befitting their status, but the greatest mystery was that the exact location of this burial was never officially recorded. Although Octavian himself, the future Emperor Augustus, allowed the burial, it was believed the tomb was exceptional in luxury and located either near or directly inside the temple of Isis, goddess of motherhood, magic, and protection. Cleopatra, who was revered as an earthly incarnation of Isis, built temples in her honor herself. But time did not spare the city ruled by the queen. Alexandria, one of the greatest centers of ancient civilization, survived destructive earthquakes, devastating tsunami waves, and constant advancement of the Mediterranean Sea. Over centuries, the waters literally swallowed royal districts and many sacred buildings, of which only traces of past grandeur remained, concealed beneath layers of sand and salt water. So it continued for generations. Researchers and historians, marine archaeologists, and even treasure hunters repeatedly embarked on searches that always ended in failure. No convincing evidence, no sarcophagus, no signatures, no chambers with royal remains were ever found. But in recent decades, everything changed. A combination of the latest technology and growing interest in underwater archaeology gave new hope to the centuries-long search. The first to make significant progress in this direction was French marine archaeologist Franck Goddio. His expeditions in the late 20th century in the waters of Alexandria practically rewrote the map of the ancient underwater city. Using advanced techniques, precise terrain analysis, and complex diving operations, Goddio discovered massive columns, huge architectural blocks, magnificently carved statues, as well as numerous artifacts, including coins bearing images of representatives of the Ptolemaic dynasty and cult objects. However, despite the stunning discoveries, the main thing remained the same. No burial chambers or traces of royal burial in the location of the palace complex were found. This was evidence that Cleopatra and Mark Antony's tomb was unlikely to be located in the flooded royal quarters. For this reason, researchers turned their attention to land, to temples and tombs destroyed by time that still remain outside modern urban areas of Alexandria. Scientists again analyzed ancient Greek and Roman texts from authors like Diodorus Siculus and Strabo. They described temple complexes located west of Alexandria, connecting them to the cult of Isis, which was known to be of special importance to Cleopatra herself. This is where the temple of Taposiris Magna appeared on the horizon, a place whose name means the Great Tomb of Osiris, and sounds like an echo of ancient legends. This massive temple complex, located about 45 kilometers southwest of Alexandria, was built during the reign of King Ptolemy II Philadelphus, seeking to unite Greek and Egyptian religious traditions in one sacred space. The situation changed when Dominican archaeologist Dr. Kathleen Martinez, who spent years studying Cleopatra, proposed a bold and non-trivial hypothesis. She suggested that Cleopatra might have deliberately chosen a burial site symbolically connected to the legend of Isis and Osiris, because she sought to appear in the image of a living goddess. After excavation work began in 2005, Kathleen Martinez and her team gradually discovered under Taposiris Magna a branched underground network of columns, passages, and separate burial niches hidden beneath the surface ruins. Ptolemaic statues, religious objects, masks, amulets, and numerous coins bearing Cleopatra's image were found in these chambers, indicating an important connection between the queen and this temple. By 2022, thanks to three-dimensional ground-penetrating radar and seismic surveys beneath the temple, an abnormal structure was revealed, an incredibly long tunnel, approximately 1,300 meters, carved right into the rock. It was honestly amazing in its precision of execution and design, kind of reminiscent of those ancient Greek channels, as if it was created for some special ritual, or maybe even protective purposes. At the end of this long underground tunnel, archaeologists emerged into a sealed passage, and its stones were blackened, as if they'd once been exposed to a really strong fire. The atmosphere changed dramatically, the air got heavy, devices started giving malfunctions, and even the light from lamps seemed dimmer. These strange conditions indicated that something was hidden behind the wall, something that had remained isolated for a long time. Excavations continued, and soon the passage, which was called the Paths of Osiris, began to reveal its secrets. Dozens of burial chambers containing perfectly preserved mummies decorated with linen headbands and traces of gilding were revealed on its walls. A mummy bearing a scarab of pure gold on the chest stood out especially, a symbol of eternal protection. Meanwhile, seismic sensors began recording weak rhythmic vibrations emanating from the depths of the sealed chamber. They didn't seem like usual tectonic fluctuations, and interested engineers and geologists, these strange pulses reinforced the feeling that something was hidden underground, something carefully concealed by ancient priests. At the same time, archaeologists found an obsidian tablet with an image of Isis and Osiris in embrace, and beneath them, a warning: do not disturb the lovers sleeping in silence, their union preserves balance. Before the camera was a massive wall of granite and lead, as if fused together by ancient fire. The decision to open the section was not easy, it was a matter of archaeological, political, religious, and moral importance. When experts finally managed to break through the massive wall, a view of a sealed room opened before them, hidden beneath centuries-old layers of rock and sediment. In the center of the room was a massive sarcophagus made of coal-black granite, so dense and dark it barely reflected any light. There were no inscriptions, no decorations or symbols, just a smooth, perfectly flat surface, as if created by some unknown ancient technology. Initial examination showed a strange thermal anomaly, at a stable room temperature of about 22 degrees. The sarcophagus itself, stably, showed about 29, as if something inside was preserving heat from an unknown source. When they opened the sarcophagus, they found inside two extremely well-preserved mummies. The first, female, had distinctive features of Hellenistic nobility from the Ptolemies, including a slightly elongated skull. Radiocarbon dating indicated a period coinciding with the approximate date of Cleopatra's death. The second mummy was male, with distinctive Roman anatomical features and the same timestamp. Between the two bodies was a heavy bronze cylinder covered with traces of oxidation but remained sealed. It was decorated with rare metals usually found in areas of volcanic activity in the Mediterranean, especially in southern Italy. But then, unexpected difficulties arose. Excavation work at the site began showing alarming symptoms in some workers: dry cough, dizziness, strong fatigue. Subsequent air tests changed everything. Unknown bacterial spores were found in samples that could survive without oxygen in a toxic environment with high concentrations of mercury. These microorganisms seemed to have been sealed with the sarcophagus for thousands of years and remained dormant until disturbed. Worse, some turned out to be resistant to many major antibiotics, and their composition did not match known samples. This information was immediately transferred to closed laboratories, and after that, access to excavations was limited. The area was closed, communication within the perimeter was cut, and additional security was installed at the entrance. What do you think about this incredible discovery? Could this finally be the tomb of Cleopatra and Mark Antony? Share your theories in the comments below, and, don't forget to